that it's quite likely your body is not able to make vitamin D all year round? And do you know how to know whether or not your body is making vitamin D year round? We'll get to that in a minute. But in this video, which I'm going to try to keep within 10 minutes, we are going to unpack a whole lot of information about vitamin D. It is such an incredible vitamin that does so much for our body, and research has connected it to so many different ailments and conditions that it's a simple way to boost our health with one vitamin. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, which means that it's stored in the body for a longer length of time than water-soluble vitamins, and specifically vitamin D is stored in your liver. It is connected to having increased bone health, healthy cell replication, better blood pressure, less inflammation. It boosts your immune system. It reduces autoimmunity symptoms and flares. It works with calcium to regulate your insulin, so it keeps your blood sugar levels more stable. It prevents mood disorders and depression. It increases energy, and it helps keep your cholesterol at a healthier level, just to name a few. It can also help speed the healing of sunburns, which is not necessarily we're in the optimal time of year where we would be having sunburns, but you can keep that tidbit in your back pocket for next summer should you need it. Research shows that vitamin D is effective with alleviating migraine suffering and in men and boys. So for those men and boys who have frequent migraines, vitamin D helps alleviate the frequency and intensity of those headaches. For girls and women, CoQ10 actually shows to improve those migraines. So if you're male or female, you suffer from migraines, you can try to supplement your body accordingly and see if you get some relief. As I mentioned, vitamin D is incredibly impactful with autoimmune issues and reducing those flares. In a study on MS, let's talk MS. The study studied 40 sufferers of MS, and they put some of the individuals on 10,400 IUs every day for 6 months, and some of the other candidates in the study were on 800 IUs. Those with the higher dose had fewer symptoms of MS, and also they had 0 side effects from the vitamin D supplementation. So the lower the vitamin D level was with those candidates in the study, the more prevalent their MS symptoms were and the more MS flares they had. Hey Sarah, thanks for jumping in here. Another study with IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, it showed that the majority of participants in that study were deficient in vitamin D. So being deficient in vitamin D is having a blood serum level lower than 30. So if you've had that ran on your blood labs, you can check and see if you are within the normal range or not. Now that is normal, and we don't look at normal ranges, we're really going for optimum. So we'll get to what the optimal range that you really will benefit most from here in just a little bit. So specifically in this study though, the candidates that were deficient were under that 30 level in their blood serum. And that was actually 42 of the 52 participants were below that level. So it's quite likely if you have IBS, you can get some relief if you get your vitamin D levels up to a higher optimal range. Vitamin D has also been shown to reduce kidney disease, heart disease. It improves the treatment of Crohn's, and it's also been helpful with child asthma, which I find mind-blowing And I really wish in so many ways I knew what I know now when I was younger. When I was, I think it was seventh or eighth grade, I started having issues breathing when I was in sports practices. So it was only when I was exerting myself, and they certainly did not check my vitamin D levels. I have not had issues with sports-induced asthma for many years, especially since I have been applying the biochem nutritional information that I share with you guys, as well as doing the mind-body healing. So I do wonder and ponder how simply supplementing my vitamin D as a seventh grader would have impacted the symptoms I had breathing. So if you have anyone with asthma in your life, if they're going to the doctor, get that vitamin D level checked, or start taking some vitamin D, because 70 to 80% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. So they're likely going to need it anyway. And with those stats, you likely need it too. The fact is, 70 to 80% is the majority of us. So it is important to be supplementing our vitamin D, because even though we think that we make vitamin D in the sun, we typically don't make enough to be able to keep our levels high enough to gain all of the health benefits from it. So how do you know if your body is making vitamin D year-round? Well, quite honestly, it's as simple as looking to see if you live above the 35th parallel, which is essentially living north of Oklahoma, Arizona, in that area or region. If you're living north of there, you are not getting enough sun in the late fall, winter months. So really coming into really where we're at right now, November, December, January, February, March, maybe April. So for about half of the year. Excuse me. Another stat I wanted to share with you guys is that in a study, 96% of ICU patients have deficiency in vitamin D. Those numbers are just so incredibly high, and it's so simple to supplement it. So let's talk symptoms of vitamin D. What does it look like? What does it feel like if you do not get enough vitamin D? So you could have fatigue, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, heart disease, cancer, autoimmunity, depression or other mood disorders, could have hair loss, skin dryness, skin conditions, insomnia, difficulty sleeping, could have arthritis or pain and achy joints, diabetes, asthma, difficulty concentrating, MS, chronic muscle or bone pain, psoriasis, fibromyalgia, autism. So I get a lot of those are pretty extreme diagnoses, and we really want to intervene before we're there. And this is a great way, if you start when you are young enough, to be able to keep your body functioning optimally so that you don't have to worry about developing and manifesting into some of those other diseases. Let's also talk about the best way to absorb vitamin D, because simply taking vitamin D3, which is the best supplement for vitamin D that our bodies can utilize, doesn't allow our bodies to absorb it when it's by itself alone. Vitamin D is absorbed the best when it is taken with a fat-soluble vitamin and also with food. Additionally, magnesium and calcium can help our bodies absorb vitamin D as well. Oftentimes you will find vitamin D mixed with vitamin K when you purchase it in the store. So it is out there on the shelf mixed in with a fat-soluble vitamin. Magnesium really adds an extra bonus to be able to utilize the body to be able to absorb and utilize the vitamin D that you're taking through supplementation. Okay, so let's get into the protocol. Where do we want our vitamin D levels to be for it to be optimal? And how are we going to get it there? I encourage people to keep the vitamin D on the high end of their blood lab ranges, so between 80 and 100. And there's a lot of talk out there about vitamin D toxicity. It is real, but the protocol that I'm giving you with high levels of vitamin D for a short length of time, you do not need to concern yourself with toxicity. I've had several clients, lots of clients use this protocol, get their blood labs ran, and it may not even get their labs as high as 80. It definitely moves it up, but rest assured you are not going to breach into any toxic level. So my protocol that I suggest for people to take this time of year going into the winter, and any time that you get blood labs ran and your vitamin D is really low, I want you to start out at 25,000 IU per day for 1 month. And then the second month, I want you to take 20,000 IU. And then the third month, we'll back it down to 15,000 IU for that month. And then you'll maintain your maintenance dose at 10,000 IU, just as Sarah says you're doing, which is great for a maintenance level. And that will get your vitamin D bumped up to where you're going to really be feeling benefits from that vitamin D supplementation. So if you would like to take a vitamin D proven to move blood lab results that has K, zinc, magnesium, calcium, all the things for your body to use already mixed in, so you don't have to buy a multitude of different products, and you also don't have to worry about whether or not there's additives and junk in whatever you're taking, because who knows what the integrity of that company and its ingredients are. Systemic Formulas has an incredible vitamin D3 product that my clients absolutely love, and it gets results and it moves those blood labs. So it's not wasted and you're not peeing it out, bottom line. Systemic Formulas, you guys probably are already aware, to be able to get those products, you do need a practitioner certification, and I'm happy for you to use mine. Just reach out to me and I will get those products for you so that you can go into cold and flu season without having lots of cold and flu. And I say that because if you look at the trend of when cold and flu season is, and you look at the trend of when people are not able to make enough vitamin D because of the lack of the sun, it does not seem as though it would be a coincidence. So I hope you've learned something about vitamin D or our amazing bodies here this evening. If this is valuable information for you, feel free to share it out with anyone who you think could use it. Additionally, if you're interested in any mind-body healing techniques and tools, I have a Facebook group called Sacred Healing Project with my colleague SJ, and we would love to see you in that community. So you can jump into that community for lots of tools and techniques and things to help you heal and grow on your journey. Thank you for joining me here tonight, and enjoy your evening.